You're listening to Real Restaurant Radio, the show that inspires up-and-coming restaurant and bar owners, along with current operators, to pursue their passion in the restaurant business. I am your host, Kostas Lazanis, and I'm joined, as always, with my good friend, Carrie Hodson. Let us guide you through the process of being a successful owner and teach you how to make an impact in today's culinary world. And welcome back to another episode of Real Restaurant Radio. We are just knocking these things out, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving all the podcasts we're doing. I hope you guys are loving it as well. Hope you guys are having a fantastic autumn, almost winter time now.
We skipped autumn. We just went straight into crappy weather.
It really was crazy, right? It went straight from like...
This week's been okay.
It's been nice. It's been nice.
Yeah.
I hope wherever you guys are listening to, you are enjoying
lots of this country's
season.
In the snow already. So
yeah, that's crazy, right? Tons of snow out there and stuff.
No thanks.
Are you taking me skiing this year or not?
February.
That's better for me anyway.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, the later the better, actually.
Well, you still want snow.
Yeah, I still want snow. Still want snow.
You gonna ski or snowboard?
No, I'm still sticking with the skis, man. I feel like now that I've skied for the first time, that's like probably the only thing I ever do.
Yeah, I don't go often enough to like invest in learning a
new thing.
I don't want to do that again.
The skis are just so fun already.
Mm-hmm.
I can already see how like snowboarding, I don't know, wouldn't be as fun, but maybe it's just in my head.
You have less stuff to lose. You know when you wipe out in the skis and you're like, where's all my crap?
You remember that one time we were like searching for that one ski for like 15
vividly.
Carrie had me going straight down this thing. Then my first time skiing, and like I don't know, I hit this bump and I got a little air. And I just went flying in the air and I landed.
I think we got it on video.
I landed head first and like I was like, "Where's my ski at?"
It was epic.
I landed in like 10 feet of like fresh powder.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, I didn't get hurt at all.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, "Kostas, where are you?" I was buried under snow.
Well, you were. That's what helmets are for.
That's right. Well, today's episode is boring in our opinion, but it's actually one of our busiest episodes I think we had in the past when we touched upon licensing.
Permits and licensing, yep.
I don't even want to. You can just talk and I'll just listen.
Paperwork is part of the process, and the sooner you just kind of get over that, it's not fun, but it's just if you have a plan and know what you're getting into, it might be a little easier. I thought I knew everything, but there was always one more license to get, one more.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have to do it early or else you're not opening it. It doesn't matter how well advertised you are and how many employees you've hired and how good the build out is. If you don't have the proper licensing, so it is illegal to operate. How do
you want to do this with our listeners? Do you want to just do like the big stuff first and then break down some of the smaller licenses that are less heard of, or?
Yeah, I kind of made a little list and order of importance.
Okay.
I mean, you have to have them all.
Okay.
For the most part.
For sure.
But, first one's like business license from the feds, and you have to get your employee identification number.
That's called the EIN.
Right.
EIN number.
And you need that for everything. Oh, I forgot one. Hold on.
And then we need, so after you get the EIN, which you will get whenever you form your corporation, I believe, right?
Right.
So when you go to your lawyer, which you got to find a lawyer, or I guess you can go to like, I don't know, law.com and do it yourself.
Did you do that? Oh, okay.
I hired a lawyer for $500.
Oh, okay. Huh.
He did everything for me.
Okay. $500 is good.
He has like a family friend, and he handled it for me. And I think, how'd you do it?
I
just went to legal.com or whatever?
Did it online.
Okay.
No, I went to the federal site and filled out the paperwork myself.
All the things.
It's a good learning curve.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always nice.
Learning experience.
When you do it yourself, you get to like really grasp the full potential. Because I really don't even know what happened. I just gave him money, and he's like, "Okay, there's your company name. Sign here, here, and here."
Perfectly fine. Do what you're good at.
Yeah.
So I was still looking for a location and figuring out, how it was all gonna work, and I needed to feel like I did something, and so
Gotcha.
I formed the company.
See, I was working in my restaurant.
More than a year before we opened. So
I signed the lease and I quit my job as a server. Okay. And then I figured out how I'm going to do everything after. No, I swear, that's exactly what I did. I was like, "Hey, Pablo, I got to put in my 2 weeks notice because I just signed a lease on a building. I'm opening a restaurant."
Oh, my goodness.
And then I was like, "How do I do this?"
Oh, man. Well, that's not how I would do it.
The exact opposite. Yeah, do not do what I did, or do what I did. Maybe, you know, it's funny how that works. Sometimes like
jump right
people who
into
do
it.
that are like the most successful. People who prepare for 20 years, they open up and they fail. So it's funny how that works.
Well,
well, before we talk any further, because this is really boring, can you at least?
Shoot,
I saw you brought the beer.
This one's hot potato.
You know, I saw, dude. If you haven't checked out Intrinsic Instagram page, check that out. I think he put a video out there with a hot potato.
Yep.
And he's actually
collaboration beer.
You actually put potatoes in the beer.
Right, but the name really comes from the hops. They're Idaho 7 hops.
Okay.
The potato's kind of
hop
potato. Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh,
So
I smell
New England IPA.
I'm smelling the hops. I mean the hops from over here.
Fresh hops. You know, the hop harvest is once a year. And
can I ask you a question? How many beers you utilize potatoes in their brewing process? None.
Nah.
So it's very unusual.
Yeah.
But you hear that like with vodkas and stuff. We use.
It's pretty neutral. I don't think there's no way you're tasting potatoes.
No, you're not gonna taste McDonald's French fries in here.
No, it's another like neutral tasting sugar.
Well,
so
cheers, man.
Cheers. You're gonna get all the hops and wheat and barley more than potato. I love Idaho 7 hops.
That's great, man.
Yeah. Anyways,
tastes like Greek potatoes.
No,
no, it doesn't. I'm just kidding. Tastes great. Tastes great.
Your EI number will be how you pay all your employee taxes. Every time you hire someone, that's the number you use to report that you hired someone.
Yes.
Which I think you have 3 days or something to report you hired someone. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then you need your
sales tax.
Yeah, through your state, your sales tax license.
And that's going to allow you to
buy and resell stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you're going to pay your sales tax to the comptroller. I do mine online. I think you have to now.
Yeah, it's all done online now.
Yeah, we used to. When we first opened, yeah, you could send a check, but now you have to do it online.
Yeah, which is nice. It's a little bit makes things more seamless.
Right. How do you actually figure out how much sales tax to pay?
So my POS system records all of that for me.
Okay, that's good.
And it actually has a line item on the reports at the end of the month.
That says taxes.
It'll say sales tax collected, $4,000. It'll say mixed beverage sales taxes collected. You know, whatever that is.
Oh, you have a different.
Yeah, because I can collect more sales tax. I can pass down the sales tax on the mixed beverages to the customers.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be different in every state.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah, and then taxes and state taxes and stuff like that. Because some states have state taxes.
Right.
We have just a sales tax, which is 8.25% in Texas.
Some states don't have a sales tax.
Yeah, and some states are like 2%, which is crazy.
Right. So,
but they pay like a state tax at the end of the year.
You still need a resale license.
whatever that is. I believe that's universal.
Let's talk about liquor license. That's going to vary state to state.
That is a big one.
Yeah, it's $0 to $10,000. It depends. And you don't only have to pay the state every 2 years, at least here. I just wrote a check yesterday for $1,000 to the city. You have to pay the county also. So it adds up.
Yeah, I think my city for the alcohol permit is, I think, $600 a year.
Oh, that's not bad.
Garland's always more expensive than Rowlett.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to
on everything.
figure that out.
Yeah, talk to your.
I don't.
You're on the council.
I never. No.
You're on the board. You're on the board or whatever. You're on something.
But they don't. I think that's the max they're allowed to take.
It's passive income for the city, essentially.
Yeah, they don't do an inspection. They don't require any reports. It just.
But I guess
they send you this black and white letter saying it's time to pay. Yeah. You pay.
I guess that helps pay for like law enforcement and fire police. I mean, it's part of the game.
I don't know. I guess so.
But liquor licenses, and then obviously, we've I think in previous episodes we talked about the different type of liquor licenses. In Texas, obviously, we're like in the Bible Belt where like liquor laws are really hard and difficult.
Could be worse.
Now,
could be better.
We're talking about other like if you're like in other parts now, we're talking about like cannabis and stuff like that. Like that, I'm sure there can be a whole nother set of laws when it comes to like, I don't know, infusing your food or your beer with cannabis, which I think is only going to be, 10 years away or whatever it is in Texas. Who knows? But I'm sure that there will be money that will need to be paid to have that. And it's going to be always changing and dynamic. So just make sure that you're on top of it. And I also noticed on the liquor licenses is like you don't just go and get your license tomorrow. Like it takes like months sometimes to get a liquor license, background checks, stuff like that. So don't like be ready to open up next week and you just applied for your liquor license. Sometimes it can take up to 30 days or 60 days or 90 days.
More than that. I think you have to post the intent to get a liquor license.
60 days or something like that.
You have to put it in a newspaper, like so the public has the time to protest, which never happens. But
you have to have the sign on the door saying intent. So, yeah.
Right. So there's a lot that goes into it. So
background checks, I think, as well. They do background checks
and different areas. Well, they have to see where your income comes from. How are you building this restaurant? They want to make sure you're not money laundering. It goes. It's pretty in depth. It's not just apply online. It's easier to get a federal license than it is to get a state license.
Yeah. So liquor license is a big deal.
What happens if you don't do it in time and you have to open?
I guess you just would open without selling liquor. If you had to.
Yeah, if you had to. A lot of people are BYOB, kind of could work for a little while. I've seen a couple restaurants where they're still waiting on their license, so they give away alcohol for free. You're still allowed to give alcohol away for free without a license.
No, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe you're only allowed to give away a certain amount of drinks. Maybe that's if you have a license. You're only allowed. I'll have to follow up. I wish I did more research. But no, I believe in certain places.
That's if you have a license, because they don't want you to be cheating the
something like
system.
That. I think it's something like that. You can only give away so many drinks.
But if you don't have a license, there's no regulation on it.
Yeah.
You're allowed as long as they're 21.
That's why you'll see some places that will like say $2 nickel beers.
Right.
And that's because, not $2 nickel beers. Tuesday night nickel beers.
Right.
Basically, they're giving away the alcohol, making money on the food.
Each state's going to be different. The way you promote alcohol, your signage, it's all regulated.
Speaking of promoting, a lot of that stuff you have to be careful when you are promoting. That there's some laws where you can't actually like offer free alcohol on paper or on come in for 2 free beers.
Yeah,
I think there's something like that, right?
Every state's going to be different.
What do you know about that?
One example I can give is you can say free beverage with a purchase of, but you can't say
free beer,
free something if you buy this beer. You can't incentivize someone to buy the beer to get something else.
And you can't give the beer for free, can you? You can't advertise free beer, can you?
You can, but you have to make it available to everyone equally. Gotcha. And that's how happy hours work too. You're allowed to discount beer, but it has to be everyone equally. You can't say if you wear a blue sweater, you can say it, but if someone says, "Hey, I want my free beer," gotcha. You can't say, "Well, you're not wearing a blue sweater. You can't have it free." That's illegal. Gotcha. And that's how weddings get away with it too.
I see.
If it's given away for free, then it has to be given away for free. So if you want to walk up to a wedding and say, and they're serving alcohol for free to people, and say, "I want a free beer," legally they're supposed to give it to you. Nobody's ever going to do that.
Sure.
But that's
on
just
paper.
That's just how it works.
That's probably when it comes to like weird, wanky laws. Alcohol probably has the weirdest, quirkiest laws out of any other type of thing.
It's going to vary state to state, and it's going to vary county to county and city to city. So in my city, and I think yours as well, if I have an alcohol license to sell alcohol on premise for on-premise consumption, I have to sell a certain amount of food as well. So there's another license that comes with that, and it's called a food and beverage certificate.
Sure. And then also selling after midnight, that's a late night permit.
Right.
You can only sell. I can only sell alcohol up until 11:59 p.m.
Right, which is becomes super tricky on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, right.
But that's why we close. One reason we close at 11 is so we can give people time to enjoy and finish their beverage before having to say, "All right, guys, you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here or drink them up." We're just not that kind of spot, and it's fine to be that kind of spot, but that's not our vibe.
And by the way, if you don't want to go through all this stuff, like there are agencies, and when I opened my restaurant, I actually hired an agency that
did
my
TABC
did
stuff
everything for me.
I'd be careful, man.
And
I don't know.
It was a reputable
Okay.
called La Barba, and they've been doing it for 30 years.
Okay. Yeah,
And
find
it
a
was
reputable
a reputable rep, but they will do everything for you because you literally have to like.
Because their mistake is you're paying for it.
Exactly. So, but yeah, they do every single thing for you, and you pay them. I think they charge whatever fee they charge, and they'll handle it for you. But basically, you have to shake everybody's hand, and get. I mean, you have to like go through so many people to get that approval.
Right.
So,
I mean, at some point that you have to go up there anyways. So
yeah. Now I renew it myself.
I'm a do-it-yourself guy. So
couldn't agree more.
Food service license from your city.
Yeah, so that one is, of course, let's just preface this by saying all licenses essentially boils down to paying somebody money. So that's like the common denominator. So after that, as far as the food service licenses, you'll need to probably get a food manager license and show that to them.
Food handler's permit. So not only does your location need a license, you have to go to your health department and get that license, give them your home address, your driver's license number, who's in charge, a cell phone number. But every employee has to also have their own food handler's permit.
Yes.
And you have to keep those on record.
Going back to the food service license, that's going to be after the health inspector actually inspects your location, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's you're talking about vent hoods, you're talking about wash stations. Like, I didn't realize this, but like my hand wash sink didn't have a wings on the side.
4-inch wings.
Or just, not the wings to turn the thing on, but like a partition. I'm sorry.
Oh,
the side partition.
Well, that's a good point, though, too. You can't just have knobs. You have to have the 4-inch wings.
So the idea is that you don't have to touch your hands to turn
it on with your wrist.
Without touching your... Exactly. See,
right.
Look, I would never know that. I would never know that to get the wings on there.
Ask your health department to do a courtesy walkthrough first.
And they normally will.
Right.
And they appreciate that.
Right.
But there's so many things that they're going to want to see. And every health inspector is, their own thing.
I got one on Friday.
I've got 5 health inspectors.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. Anyway, once you pass your inspection, they're going to want to see all the things that you need to see. Types of like... we call it FRP board for the kitchen that's like non-porous that you can wipe down.
Basically, they want everything to be easily cleaned.
And that's one of the things of hiring like a restaurant contractor. When you build out your kitchen, they know how to build it to where it's going to pass your food permit.
And they have the building standards posted online. There's a national code, and lots of cities just adopt the national code.
Yeah,
you can't have exposed insulation above where you're storing food.
So and then I guess one thing while we're in the kitchen right now, we can talk about like also a fire permit. We need fire extinguishers.
Just did that one too.
And the Ansel system, which is like
our fire department comes in every year and inspects
ours as well.
All of our fire extinguishers. Make sure everything's tagged well.
You need the class. You need the red one, or you need a silver one.
The red one is for fire,
the dining room,
right?
And the silver one's
for grease.
Mm-hmm. Ditto. There you go. You can tell we're real restaurant owners, right? You can tell. Real restaurant radio going on right now.
Right.
So
hopefully you never have to use them.
And you can buy those used, and I've bought mine used at an auction, and they just get them inspected, and they worked out fine for me. Cool. So that's a way to save money because they always have a few of those.
But the cylinders have to be water tested every 10 years. So if you buy the wrong cylinder, and the date stamp says it has to be retested, then not just retested and looked at, but emptied, filled with water, pressure tested. That's a whole nother deal.
I haven't gotten there yet.
We just had to upgrade our sprinkler system because I added a flat top.
Okay.
And it wasn't as simple as adding another sprayer.
Really?
So I had to have a whole new tank installed.
That sounds expensive.
That was not fun.
Darn.
Just to be able to cook some eggs.
I'm telling you. It's funny that you don't think about that. Like, man, if I'm going to add one little thing to my menu, and then you realize that it's going to cost me an extra $1,000, $10,000
right.
for one little, adding one little piece of thing to my,
right.
Like you said, like you have to redo the whole electrical outlet because you put this one thing that's electrical and it blows all your circuits.
Right.
So now you have to call an electrician out.
Right.
But you know what? Maybe I shouldn't add the electric pizza oven to my arsenal.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's definitely true. Sign permit. Did you have to get one of those? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I think that was a cheap, simple one.
$100 or something.
They just want to see
inspection.
They want to see what the sign looks like.
Each city has a different regulation. Usually, it's
like no neon signs or whatever.
They'll regulate the type of sign. and they'll regulate the size of the sign. So you're pretty lenient. You've got 2 pretty large signs, but I guess they counted the front of your building as like the 2 sides.
I just replaced the old signage.
I just have 25 feet. It's usually based on like how big is the front of your building or how wide is it.
And I think different cities, like Rowlett's definitely like pro business. Like they're trying to get more businesses in their city, so they're like really lenient. I've noticed.
I got denied on my first sign permit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's our tree logo on top and then words below it, right?
Yeah.
So I drew a box around it and said X amount of square feet, and I looked at the sign ordinance, and it said it was within that range, right? But then there's a special ordinance just for downtown that I didn't see, and it was it had to be smaller, and so they kicked it out. And so I took the same photo, and instead of drawing a big square or rectangle box, I drew closer to the letters, and then drew 2 boxes, and then closer to the logo, which made the total square footage of the sign smaller, and it passed. So you just kind of have to. It's in the way you ask the question.
Sure, that's crazy. Right. Yeah, the devil's in the details for sure.
Certificate of occupancy.
I think that's with the fire marshal as well, correct? Does he?
Everybody's involved in that one.
That's like the final stamp of approval, right?
Health department will come in and say you're good to work. Building inspection will come in, and fire will come in.
That's like your final thing, right? Before you open up, you'll get your certificate of occupancy.
It's like now you can have people. I mean, it is what it sounds like. Now you can have people in your building.
Yeah.
And work.
Man, about that music license, I'm telling you, man.
Take 3.
No, seriously though, music licensing.
There's nothing more like paying the mafia for protection.
It really feels like the mafia because they start coming after you. You pay one of them, and then everybody else starts coming after you all of a sudden.
They catch on.
Like, where are those people coming from? ASCAP, BMI, what's the other one? CSAC. Yeah, jeez.
I say ASCAP. Is it ASCAP?
I don't know.
I think it's ASCAP.
Whatever it is. Like, why not add on 10 more agencies while you're at it?
Right.
Like, why stop at 3?
So what do they do?
So basically, supposedly, I've dived into it out of anger. Supposedly they pay the artist, but the artist never really received the money.
I think it's rite of passage for a restaurant owner or venue owner to get upset about music licensing. But
I don't think you're a real restaurant owner until you do get upset about it. I mean, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you have to pay. I did look at it. I was like, do I have to pay these people? Because I wasn't sure. I thought it was a fraud. Honestly, I did.
Feels like it. Some dude that you'll never meet.
Yeah.
Just somehow got your cell phone number and is going to call you every day.
And so I finally, I called you. I'm like, Carrie, what do I do with these, with the mafia, with the music mafia?
Either don't have live music,
or even just playing music,
or pay them,
or even just playing music on your MP3 player too. Like they'll come after you even with that.
That's true. You can't just play a playlist, or I think you can play the radio, but you can't just plug in your Spotify.
So the secret to that particular thing, and you told me about it. I don't know sure how popular this is across the United States, but Mood by Pandora.
Right.
And you pay them monthly, and they pay all the licensing for you. So it's a licensed music.
I think it's about $1 a day or $30 a month.
Yeah.
And you can choose kind of the genre of music, but you can't pick the specific songs.
Yeah, but you can choose for instance, like right now I typed in Norah Jones, and she's like the singer-songwriter.
Right.
It has some nice autumn fall vibes.
Sure.
To
her
music.
Can't play a specific song by that person.
Exactly. So it would just pick other people within.
If
it's
you
like Pandora.
If you want more control, you can pay all 3 of these agencies separately and play whatever music you want to pick. Or if you want the safe route, you can go through a company like Mood Media and Pandora and pay your commercial licensing through them, and they'll send you a box.
Which has a bad connection sometimes. I've had mine gone out.
Mine's gone out 3 times. I've had to repurchase their...
We'll have to unplug it and then plug it back in and reboot it and then all these things.
Burnout.
Wow.
I'm talking done.
Of course, my staff doesn't know what to do. So I guess what? I have a whole shift with no music.
There's nothing more awkward than a restaurant with no music.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have to have music, but you don't have to have live music. So if you don't want to pay, I think we're doing $3,000 a year on these licensing, which it all depends on how many people you have in your restaurant. Do you have a dance floor? How many shows are you doing? Yada, yada.
Yeah.
If you don't want to pay that, you just don't have live music. That's the only solution.
Sure. Oh, yeah, you deal with that probably a lot more than I do.
Do you have an FDA license?
FDA license?
It would be for products that you make and package and want to sell on the shelf.
Oh, no. You know what? I don't. I looked into a manufacturing license whenever I was trying to get into the local farmers markets to sell like my salad dressing and stuff. But I actually never went through with it.
I got one, but the next step is to get your products tested, and that's been difficult. I haven't quite figured that out yet.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I can help you with that.
Okay.
I did that with my salad dressing. I went and did a half-life test.
Yeah, I need that.
And I did. Yeah, I have a whole file for my salad dressing. I did because I was planning on putting that on shelves. Like I wanted to go to Sprouts or Whole Foods. I actually have the barcode and everything.
And not just shelves in other stores. For me to legally put it on my shelf and sell it in my restaurant. And not have it refrigerated, my health department's saying I need this other manufacturer's license, and those products have to be tested.
Yeah, let me. I guess I'd sell my salad dressing illegally in my store. So I actually, I mean, I guess I don't.
Probably a pretty low risk.
Yeah,
like our barbecue sauce is low pH. Like
all those things.
It's heated. You know, we package it well.
Well, I guess I don't put mine on shelves. I actually just, if someone orders a bottle of salad dressing, I could just say, I mean, I literally just bottle it fresh for them when they order it.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, so that's
we
not
can
illegal.
do the same thing. It's like taking food to go.
Exactly, just a nice fancy package.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But to put it on shelves, but I have a 6-month shelf life on my salad dressing.
Oh, cool.
And
I mean, I'm sure it's fine. long after that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think the vinegar in there or whatever it kills.
Right. You did a video on that. That was a cool video.
Yeah. But get with me after the podcast, and you guys can get with me too if you guys want to know more about that. At University of Texas A&M University.
Yeah. Okay.
I have like a guy's email and everything. So
I want to do our barbecue sauce and our beef jerky.
It's fun, yeah. Well, after the episode, we'll. Unless you guys just want to listen to everything, I'll just, we could just like keep recording, give you guys all the insights on how we do all that.
We'll tell them how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
After the fact. I have a couple little, like, you may or may not need licensing for parking or valet license.
Yeah, so that's not applicable to me, so I don't know. I can't touch too much on that.
But you might need one.
Yeah, okay.
You can't just set up a valet stand and not tell
the city or whatever.
The city about it. Yeah.
Okay. Have you tried that before or looked into that, like on a special night? No,
but since we don't own the street, if I want to use a parking spot for a pop-up tent or to have an event or block it off for any reason,
which you've done in the past, right, with Lakewood and stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely have to call the city, and they contact traffic and the police, and everybody has to be in the know. So,
okay.
And we shut down the streets a lot.
Was there money exchange for that?
There can be. It depends.
Not yet though for you.
It depends. If you need if it's just okay, thanks for letting us know that's fine. Or if you need a permit, then there could be permitting fees.
I gotcha.
Trash. You have to have a permit.
So I guess you as a landlord, as a business owner, you probably know about that. I guess for me, my landlord probably handles all that.
Well, you might have a common area dumpster, right?
Exactly.
That's what your cam fees are for.
Yeah. So my landlord pays for all the trash stuff, but there is a permit for that.
Right. And a lot of people don't know, but you don't have to use the city trash. You can use a third-party trash collection company.
Which the trash collection company, anyway, is a third party. Like it's not a city-owned trash.
Ours is.
Garland is.
We own the landfill.
Well, Garland owns everything. They own their own electricity, their own everything, company. Right? That's crazy.
I wish they had music licensing.
But a lot of cities will bid out their trash services to
that's true.
Multiple companies.
Garland's pretty big, so they've got their own stuff going on. The last one's if you want to have pool tables and.
Gary's been looking into pool tables. Yeah. I just found out just now. Okay.
If we can grow our space, but
you have to
dartboards, bar games.
You have to license those.
There's in lots of states.
Are you serious?
Lots of states there's licensing for that.
I would say, are you serious? But then it doesn't or
dance floors sometimes.
That doesn't
have to be registered. think lots of times it's tied with your liquor license.
Certain type of wood that they can dance on.
So
wood's too soft, it could hurt somebody.
I think it's like a sin tax, basically.
Yeah.
All of these liquor licenses are basically, well, if you're gonna do this, we're gonna have to collect some money on it.
Yeah. Well, just like I guess like a sexually orientated business, if you're doing like a topless club or something like that, there's like a tax on that.
Higher fees for that.
Yeah. So.
Well, I didn't write that one down.
No, yeah. So yeah, if you show the aola of the woman's breast, that's considered topless. Which I wonder, like with I don't know, we'll start going off on a tangent, but
so if you're a Hooters, there's no special license. But if you're a
strip club
yeah. with a buffet, you're probably not listening to this podcast.
So funny. Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, there's licenses for everything. But yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, so licensing 101, just be ready for it. Have an extra whatever $20,000 in the bank to pay everybody off. It's true. It's sad and true, and it's one of the sad parts of doing business in the land of the free. Is all the licenses. I don't know how it is internationally, how much licensing there are. Like I know in Greece, like they literally pour you a glass of wine without even asking you at dinner. Like it's $1 for a glass of wine. I assume that's because, the restaurant doesn't have to operate with huge amounts of like licensing. So when you pay for like a $10 cocktail, it's not because that cocktail is so expensive. It's like we got to pay $10,000 a year just to pour the cocktail.
Right. I mean, just the city, I pay them, $500 a year to have a license. That's just the city. Yeah. That's profits on the first beer sold every day.
Yeah. It's
easily.
It's crazy. So. That's one of the factors. Make sure that you're pricing yourself accordingly, and you're not underpricing yourself, undervaluing your product, and you're building all that into your menu cost.
Yeah. So when you do your business plan or profit and loss sheet, list out all the licenses that might apply to you, and just be prepared for the paperwork, time, and cost.
Sounds like a good episode of Real Restaurant Radio to me.
Yeah, man.
Again, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. I know your time is valuable, and the fact that you are giving us your time and hanging out with us on our podcast means so much. We've been doing this. We do this for each other, but we also do it for you. We really enjoy you guys hanging out with us, and we hope you found this episode insightful and got a few nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah, if we missed something, let us know.
Yeah. Get in contact with us in any way, shape, or form. And if you're ever in the DFW area, obviously, you got to come by, check out Opal Creek Tavern or Intrinsic Smokehouse and Barbecue. Brewery. Smokehouse and brewery. Barbecue brewery.
Maybe if the cannabis laws change, it'll be Intrinsic Smokehouse and Brewery.
There you go.
And Smokehouse.
Real quick, wait, before we leave, what new beer are you launching?
We have Wee Heavy, Bourbon Barrel Wee Heavy, coming out for our anniversary.
Is that the one I stole from you?
I think so. Yeah, that was. Yep. Yeah. You're such a bad friend.
I'm sorry. And then I'm doing this stuffed Cornish game hen for December, so that should be a really fun dish.
Nice. Very cool.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, thanks again for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys in the next episode of Real Restaurant Radio.
Cheers.
Cheers.